Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture on pie charts in Python. We're already familiar with the basics of Python charts. That means we're ready to create our first pie chart. Let's get to it. The first step is to import the libraries we require. For this task, we need to import pandas as PD, matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, and lastly, Seaborn as SNS and set it as the default style. Great. We proceed with loading the dataset. Just like last time, we'll store the data in a pandas data frame. Okay, so we need to create a new variable called df_fuel_engine_type and use the pandas method readCSV. The file for our task is pychartdata.csv. After running the cell, we can check our data frame content. Well, it looks identical to our file, so we've not encountered any encoding issues. Great! Let's proceed with making the pie chart. Luckily, matplotlib has a function for creating pie charts, conveniently called pie, and is precisely what we'll use. To employ it, we must write plt.pie. Then, on the x-axis, we'll select the second column of our data frame, number of cars. The next parameter is the labels, which are in the first column of our data frame. So we'll set labels to values of the fuel engine type series from the df fuel engine type. This will provide us with the category names. We'd also like to add labels. More precisely, we should include the number of cars for each fuel type, represented as percentages of the total. This is quite conventional for pie charts, so there is a readily available parameter called auto_percentage, written like this. Next, we set the parameter to 0.2 to round after the second decimal point, and include the sign for percent, which is f%. The correct format is to have these as a string and include percent signs on both ends. Okay, last but not least, we ought to add plt.show to ensure the execution of our chart runs smoothly. And we're ready to run the cell. Excellent! This looks nice already, as the labels and all the important information is being displayed. However, we can still improve upon it. For instance, we notice that the labels inside the pie chart are a bit small, so let's increase them. For that, we can take advantage of the text props parameter, which gives us various options for label formatting. You can check out the documentation online and play around with the different parameters. To make use of them for our graphs, first, make sure you open the curved brackets here, as this is a dictionary. Inside the brackets, we'll indicate the size as extra large. As a second element, let's set the font weight, also written as just weight, to be bold. And let's execute the cell. Looks much better already. However, because the other category is relatively small compared to the rest, the 3.5% doesn't really fit inside it. You could leave it as is, but we can avoid the issue by rotating the labels. This little trick is something I use quite often in my work. Let's add another property in our text props parameter called rotation. We could select vertical or horizontal here, or specify a rotation angle in degrees. Let's go for 30 for a rotation of 30 degrees clockwise and run the cell. Once again, the rotation trick proves quite useful when plotting graphs in Python. Now let's move on to discussing some color options. The default colors used here are not bad per se. Nonetheless, in this lecture, we'll pick a colorblind friendly theme to make sure our chart is accessible to our entire audience. We can achieve this look by altering the default colors Seaborn uses for plots, also known as its color palette. So let's set the Seaborn palette to colorblind and replot our pie chart. Great work! Apart from colorblind, Seaborn has many other color palettes you could explore on their website. We move on to altering the color of the labels for better readability. All that's required is to add a text props property for color and select W for white. Brilliant! What this chart also needs is a legend. Let's type plt.legend and see what happens. Great job! The last remaining step is to add a title. plt.title, and in brackets we type cars by engine fuel type. After running the cell, we notice that the title appears smaller than the labels. So let's enlarge it with the font size parameter and select 18. Also, we could bold it with font weight in bold. Here's the result. Now we're talking. This is a pie chart ready for a presentation. All right, thanks for watching and see you in the interpretation lecture.